Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to brief this morning agenda as follows. First, national anthems of Cambodia and Indonesia. Second, traditional dance performance, namely Zapin dance. Third, remarks from Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the Kingdom of Cambodia, His Excellency Sudirman Haseng. Fourth, photo session. And last but not least, webinar. Thank you. Ambassador, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to a webinar of the role of young sociopreneurs to support the achievement of sustainable development goals and the ASEAN community in Indonesia and Cambodia. The Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia has a distinct honor to have all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen here, especially with the presence of our 5 speakers, namely Mr. Richard Yim, founder and president of Demine Robotics and Quantum, Mr. Kong Nghi Hal, founder and director of My Dream Home, Mr. Gigi Septianto, co-founder and CEO of WeCare Indonesia, Ms. Eva Bastir, co-founder and CEO of Garda Pangan, and last but not least, Professor Pramansyo Johan Putro, chairman of PPM School of Management. Ambassador, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, now please kindly stand up for national anthems of Cambodia and Indonesia. Thank you. Please be seated. Ambassador, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome you all in this webinar, allow me to invite you to enjoy an Indonesian traditional dance performance, namely Zapin dance, performed by Puspudi Nusantara. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause.
Ya salam, ya salam. Kalau menebang si pohon jati, papan di Jawa dibelah-belah, papan di Jawa dibelah-belah. Kalau hidup tidak berbudi, umpama pokok tidak berbuah, aduhai sayang tidak berbuah. Hai bunga selasih, si bunga padi, tumbuhlah mekar di dalam taman, tumbuh mekar di dalam taman. Pertama kasih, kedua budi, yang mana satu nak diturutkan, aduhai Tuhan nak diturutkan. Tenanglah tenang air di laut, sampanlah kolek mudik ke Tanjung, sampan kolek mudik ke Tanjung. Hati terkenang, mulut menyebut, budi yang baik saya nak junjung, aduhai Tuhan saya nak junjung.
Thank you very much for the beautiful performance. Ambassador, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to proceed the opening ceremony, may I invite His Excellency Sudirman Hasing, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the Kingdom of Cambodia, to deliver his remarks.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, very good morning, and Chumripsu. Professor Bramantio Johan Putro, the chairman of PPM School of Management Jakarta, Indonesia. Mbak Eva Bahtiar, co-founder and CEO of Garda Pangan, Indonesia. Mas Gigi Septianto, co-founder and CEO of We Care Indonesia. Bong Richard Lim, co-founder of Demine Robotics and president of Quantum. Bong Kongi, founder and director of My Dream Home, Cambodia. May I also recognize the presence of the presidents of Youth Entrepreneur Association of Cambodia, my friend Mr. Pitch Belon, and of course with his team. I also recognize the presence of my friend Mr. Mohan Bandam. Thank you very much for coming. And the other colleagues, Cambodian, Indonesian, and Indonesian youth. Ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me convey our gratitude to all of our resource persons today, and welcome to all of the participants of our webinar who are here and also who follow this webinar through online. For the umpteenth time, the Indonesian Embassy in Phnom Penh held a webinar as an alternative of having face-to-face meetings and exchange ideas. This time, we hold a webinar with the theme, the role of young sociopreneurs to support the achievement of sustainable development goals and the ASEAN community in Indonesia and Cambodia to celebrate the 93rd anniversary of the Indonesian Youth Pledge Day, Hari Sumpah Pemuda. We choose the theme of sociopreneurship by taking into account that the sociopreneurship phenomenon is quite high among young people who view the sociopreneurship is a solution to desire to run a business, but at the same time, it also overcomes the problems that arise in society. In line with the youth pledge that was initiated by the Indonesian youth in 1928 to determine the future of their nation, that cut across differences in race, ethnicity, religion, skin color, and status, today's youth have the determination to advance the future of the nations from the socio-economic and societal frame. The belief that individual welfare, community welfare, and that welfare of the nation are shared tasks underlies the thoughts, enthusiasm, and determination of young people to work as entrepreneurs based on social and humanitarian spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, the dynamic of the youth's role as a driver of political, economic, and social change can be seen from time to time. Even the United Nations recognized the important role of youth by declare August 12 as International Youth Day, bringing youth issues to the attention of the international community and celebrating the potential of youth as partners in today's global society. Within the framework of Sustainable Development Goals, there are 20 youth-specific targets spread over 6 key SDGs. Goal 2, hunger. Goal 4, education. Goal 5, gender equality. Goal 8, decent work. Goal 10, inequality. And goal 13, climate change. Young people's involvement is also key for participations, inclusion, accountability, and revitalize global engagement embedded in goals 16. And goal 17, partnerships and implementation. ASEAN also focuses on the role of the youth at the regional level. Youth development has always been central to the work of ASEAN since 34% of ASEAN's populations consist of young people aged between 15 and 34 years old. The youth populations of the region is projected to peak at over 220 million by 2038. In line with the sociopreneurship theme that we will discuss today, the ASEAN socio-cultural community clearly emphasizes the importance of fostering an entrepreneurial culture by promoting and fostering creative and inclusive social entrepreneurship for young people, people with disabilities, women, and vulnerable and marginalized groups. Sociopreneurship is also growing and developing among young entrepreneurs in Indonesia and Cambodia as well. And we will discuss with our resources person today on their thoughts, works, goals, and dreams. We will also learn from Professor Bramantio, of the significance of sociopreneurship from the academic point of view. As T'Challa or Black Panther from the Marvel Cinematic Universe said, we will work to be an example of how we, as brothers and sisters on this earth, should treat each other. We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe. I hope that by featuring inspirational young people from the Indonesia and Cambodia is in this webinar, we can all take our part to bring into reality a just, equal, inclusive, and prosperous world for all. In conclusion, I would like to express my appreciation and thanks to our team of the embassy for making this program possible under Minister Consular Ibu Nia Suteja. Thank you, terima kasih Okunchran. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ambassador, for the speech. Ambassador, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's move on to the photo session. I wish to invite all distinguished guests in Table A and Table B to the stage. So for the speakers and participants who are attending virtually, please turn on your camera and then we will take photos all together.
Recording.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, now we need few minutes to prepare the stage for our webinar. Ambassador, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, To start our webinar today, I would like to invite Ms. Alom Yatriba, Second Secretary of Indonesian Embassy, to the stage to be a moderator. Next, may I also invite our Cambodian speakers, Mr. Richard Yim and Mr. Kong Nghi Hao, to the stage. All right, so Ms. Atrip, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nancy. Good morning, Ambassador. Good morning, participants of the seminar. So today, we have a webinar entitled The Role of Young and Sociopreneurs for the Sustainable Development Goals and also the So sociopreneurship is a term that refers to business owners who run their business based on the impact caused by the business to the society and environment. This sociopreneurship phenomenon is high on the youth who think that it is the solution to what we urge to business, but at the same time will also solve problems that arise in the society. Sociopreneurs do their business or serve the investor profits back to the local society who face social problems, improve the quality of life of the society, and to preserve the natural resources and environment. A sociopreneur will put first the common good as the main focus. Therefore, if a sociopreneur is successful, then the local society will also prosper. Sociopreneurs grow and develop among the young entrepreneurs both in Indonesia and in Cambodia. There are three sectors which are most interesting for the Indonesian sociopreneurs, which are creative industry with 22%, agriculture and fisheries 16%, and education 50%. Meanwhile, in Cambodia, around 22% of sociopreneurs work in education field, 10% in health, 9.7% in the children welfare field, and 7.6% in the community development. Together with us today, and also to commemorate the Indonesia's Youth Pledge Day that falls every 20th October, which is tomorrow, we have young prominent sociopreneurs who bring real positive changes to the environment and society through their enterprises. These sociopreneurs are from different sectors, which is security, housing, health, and food, which all correlate in the terms of reaching the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs 2030. Also, we have with us from Indonesia, Professor Bramantyo, Chairman of PPM School of Management, to share information regarding the academic aspects of sociopreneurship. Without further ado, our first speaker is Mr. Richard Yim, co-founder and president with over 6 years of experience working alongside the young talented engineering team of Demine Robotics, inventor of landmine digging robot. In the early year of 2020, Bong Richard became the president of Quantum Engineering and Manufacturing, which is a metal fabrication firm that focuses on designing new technology based in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. For his work, he has been featured Asian Top 40, Under 40, and also named on 2019 Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia list for the impact across the Asia-Pacific region.
Thank you. I think I might stand up for this. It's a little bit easier. So I think for me today, I want to talk about social entrepreneur. And I think the key themes that I want to brought up today, and that is hopes. And I think without hopes, a lot of the work that we are aiming to do to change, to better the world will fall short. And, you know, mistakes will be made throughout this process. But mistake without hope is a failure. So let's, I think, have some slides, I believe. Yep. Okay, so just a little bit about me, my background. So I was born here in Cambodia. And when I was growing up in the 90s, I think we can see the clear impact of landmine and other explosive in Cambodia. I think when we walk along the street, when we go to the market, we go to the riverside, it's a prevalent issue. And that was a major problem that when I got a chance to go and move to Canada, it was actually a very important eye-opener. And the biggest culture shock to me is not the food, it's not the weather, but something very simple, and that is the freedom to walk. When I was growing up here, when we travel to the countryside, we all hear the same things from our parents, and that is, do not stray off the beaten path. Do not venture into the uncharted territory. So we were born and we were taught to take the safe road because it was necessary. So when I went to Canada and then I see a lot of the people went hiking or camping, it was an eye-opener because for once now we can go and travel places as we wanted to. We do not have to stay on the beaten path. We can venture out to do things that we never thought was possible before. So that's what kind of inspired me to create Demine Robotics. Because Demine Robotics, the hope is that the feeling that I felt in Canada would be the feeling that we want to give to kids around the world that are suffering, that are living without knowing the freedom to walk, something that majority of us are taking for granted. So during the process from 2015 to 2020, we produced quite a few of the machines that making multiple iterations. So this is the early stage of the iteration to show the progress that we made. And when we go to the next slide, we can see the current iteration of the machine. And that is something that we were able to show and able to put out in use actually in northeastern Cambodia. So on the surface, this will help the SDG goal about number 18, which talk about the landmine clear in Cambodia and around the world. But what I want to show is something that the hope for Demine Robotics is not only the direct impact of the machine that we can make. The hope for Demine Robotics is to show that Cambodian and ASEAN, we can produce innovative technology that never been seen before. And by register our patent internationally, we are able to show that we can invent something new, something innovative, and something useful that are accepted by the international community. For the longest time, for us as a Cambodian, we've been known only for two things, Angkor Wat and Pol Pot. One is a historical artifact that was made 1,000 years ago, and another one is a genocide. And so this is the time for us to change and for us to hope to be known that this ASEAN community can be known for technology. And that is the beginning of my journey. But what I realized after developing Demine Robotics is that we can make a difference in the SDG goal number 18. But for me, since I was born, my biggest hope is making a big difference, leaving the world behind a better place than I came into. And that's why we founded Quantum. So what is Quantum? Quantum is a combination of software, hardware, and mechanical engineering team that the goal is to develop customized machine for robotics functions in various industries. And so this is the point where we want to take research into real-world application. For the My Robotics, we did that. We built the software, hardware, and mechanical fabrication to help with specific industry. But for me, the dream and the goal and the hope is Quantum can make impact beyond one specific industry. And we will see the impact and the platform of Quantum. This is in the inception stage that we hope to make drastic difference in Cambodia and in ASEAN community. So for us, we are developing quite a few machines in various industries that I want to show a few of these examples. So this is a CNC laser cutter that we built for a woodworking industry in Cambodia. This is a salt grading machine. Actually, one of the clients is here as well, that we put in use. Next. This is a pick and place machine developing the combination of software to be able to pick very small specific component from one location to another. This is a biochar transformer that we built for a European company in order to turn rice husk into fertilizer. And this is an automatic conveyor that we built for Sumi, a Japanese company that is moving and allowing them faster assembly. So as we can see very quickly is that when quantum was founded, we are able to make impact in various industries, from manufacturing to agriculture to technology development. And that is the whole goal for quantum. That's why it is important for us to build this platform to develop the next generation leaders. What I found out throughout my 5-6 years working on the My Robotics is that I will not be the difference maker that I hope to change. The goal for me is to develop more leaders, to develop more action taker, develop more innovator. And quantum will allow them to do that. But innovation needs resources and tools. If we were to ask a chef to make a certain dish, but they have no pot, no pans, no ovens, equipment, they would not be able to do it. So quantum tackle that problem. Cambodia, we never have a advanced technology to do fabrication, to do software development, to do hardware development. So even if there was a genius sitting here in Cambodia, he wouldn't be able to build his dream technology because there is no tools. It's like a chef going to a kitchen without any pots. And that was the issue that we want to solve with quantum, providing them the resource, providing them the tools. As well as for us, we want to grow the next generation of social entrepreneurs. And we realize the beginning of that journey will be very difficult. The beginning of that journey will be extremely difficult because not only do they need the equipment, the tools, but also they need the expert guidance. They also need financial investment. And as we can see, the technology investment in ASEAN, especially in Cambodia, is very small, very difficult, and it is an issue that they will not be able to raise enough funding to be able to build this. So actually at Quantum, we also make investment into other tech company because we want to grow the next social entrepreneur. And I'm going to say something that I think why Quantum exists in this space. Quantum exists in this space because I believe within the next 10 years, there will no longer be a term social entrepreneur. And the reason is all entrepreneur will be social entrepreneur. Because any company that does not grow and does not found on the basis of the future for Cambodia, for the world, and for the next generation will not be successful. And so for us, we want to be on the ground floor to build that platform. We want to tackle problem also outside of the local context. I think this is something that if I spoke about this 10, 15 years ago, everyone would laugh in the room because how can an underdeveloped country are looking to build a problem to solve outside country problem, to solve problem in other countries, to solve problem in other continent, in other world-class situation. But that's what the My Robotics did. We hope to build that technology that can export. And now we hope to build the technology at Quantum to be able to export into other countries, to be used in Japanese company, to be used in a European company. We will be putting technology that never been seen before. We will be investing in a social entrepreneur that never got a chance to show the world what we can do. For me, I really truly believe the two things about entrepreneurship. And the first is entrepreneurship can be found anywhere. Entrepreneurship can be found anywhere. And a lot of the time, we always kind of question and have self-doubt as ASEAN. In ASEAN country, in ASEAN community, we always have self-doubt and so have a self-confidence problem. Because when we take a look at technology that was invented or developed or explored, it always coming from the Western world. It always coming from the developed country. And we always question ourselves, can we do it? And for a long time, we don't have that hope or that dream to actually make it happen. We question ourselves a lot. And it suddenly kind of come down to us, hey, maybe we're not smart enough to do it. But I believe different. I believe entrepreneurship can be found anywhere, right here in Cambodia, right here in ASEAN. And when I went to Indonesia, in Yogyakarta, and I met all the students that were there, they are as talented as any students that I met anywhere else in the world. So the question is not, are we smart enough? The question is, do we have the opportunity? And that has brought me to the second point. The opportunity is what's been missing in ASEAN, what's been missing in Cambodia and in Indonesia. What we want to give them is the opportunity to grow, to shine. We want to give them the opportunity to actually having the tools, having the enough resource, equipment, financial freedom to make this a reality. Look, it's no question that Cambodia and ASEAN have a long way to go in order to compete in the world stage. But this can be the big difference right now. And for us, next slide. And for us, this is the direct and indirect impact on SDG, and that what we're hoping to make. And the first is accessibility to better technology across different sectors. We want to make it accessible, all this technology. Look, all the SDG goals are talking about standard of living, are talking about eliminating poverty. All of those are necessary goals to advance us as a human being, to give that opportunity to peoples that never have those opportunities before. And if quantum are able to produce all these technology in the ground floor, in the local context, we do not have to import technology and have all the problem and all the risk that comes with it. We can find, develop, maintain, repair all this technology for different industry. That's what we've shown. And all the other product that we've shown so far, those are being made here in Cambodia. And when we actually put those machines into each of those companies, we have people that's coming to us and actually doubt that it was made in Cambodia, that was made in Phnom Penh, that was made by Cambodian engineer, that was designed from the ground floor up. But that's what we did. That's what we did. And that's the beginning. We are in our first year, and this is the impact we made. So in 10 years from now, what we want to do, we want to grow more entrepreneur. We want to give more using quantum as a platform. Quantum alone will not change Cambodia, will not change ASEAN. But if there are more entrepreneurs we can inspire that will use quantum as a tool to develop their vision, this is the dream for us. We want to improve the current standard of living for underprivileged community. I was one of those kids that live and run in the market. I was one of those kids that if I didn't have the opportunity, I wouldn't be standing here today. But I was lucky that I was able to go abroad to study. And now this is the opportunity. I want to give back to ASEAN. I want to give back to Cambodia. Because if the world worked just a little bit different, I would still be a kid running in the market today. If I didn't have the resource, the tools, the platform to develop technology, to bring my vision to life, I would still be that kid. And can we talk about all the missed opportunity? All these kids, all the missed opportunity, that they have the brilliant vision, the dream, but they lack that opportunity. And what those entrepreneurs, as they grow the company, what it allowed them to do is develop and upgrading the skill level of the general public. And I think this is the huge movement that we need to be able to do. We do not want to be the call center of all this giant tech company. We do not want to be the call center. We do not want to be the main and the repair. We do not want to be the low-skill government worker. We want to develop the technology. We want to play on the same playing fields as all this company. And for the long time, like I mentioned, we do not have one thing that is so important to all of us in order to have that determination. And that one thing is hope. We did not have hope before. We accept what was given to us, and we never question, can we do more? Quantum, we want to allow youth to dream. We want to allow youth to hope for a better future, to hope that we can make a difference. We do not need a handout. We need an opportunity. And Quantum, our goal is to provide an opportunity. Our goal, our mission at Quantum is not to build this technology to generate profits, even though it would be nice to generate some profits. But our goal is very simple. The mission is to make ASEAN known for technology. The goal and the mission at Quantum is bigger than me. It's bigger than our company. The goal is we want to change the mindset. We want to change the reputation, what ASEAN can do. I want to leave you with a really quick story. I went to one conference and we were discussing about technology development. And we have one individual leading an organization. He said to me, Cambodia and ASEAN cannot develop advanced technology. And I asked him why. Is it because we were born different? Is it because our brain are not developed enough to build those technology? And he said, because ASEAN do not have the environment to build technology. And I asked him, so what can we do? What are the environment for ASEAN? And he said agriculture. And I told them that in Cambodia specifically, from 1975 to 1979, there was a group that tried to do that, putting everyone in agriculture. It didn't work. But this shows that to the outside world, outside of ASEAN, there are still people that do not believe we can be innovator, that still think of us as a barbaric farmers. And so we can let that happen, or we can hope to make a difference and change that now. Thank you.
Thank you for the insight, Richard. It is interesting to know that Cambodia has the means and capability for the research, technology, and innovation, which can help bring solution towards not only the landmine problems in the region, but also to help solve the daily work like that. And then it's also the product can be exported overseas. And what is important that from your presentation, that hope and opportunity is something that we needed and something that we can create ourselves to inspire the youth, that we show that we can and able to do all of these work. And now for our next speaker, we have another one of Cambodia's best youth, Bong Thong Ni Hao. He's a director and social business called My Dream Home, which envisions every Cambodian citizens have a decent home to live. This social business have been awarded and recognized among high-impact social enterprises. Previously, he has 6-year working experience with international and local organizations such as Mekong Institute, the Open Institute, Cambodian Agricultural Research and Development Institute, Health Unlimited, Save the Children Australia, and other not-for-profit organizations. So please, Bong Kong Ni, the floor is yours.
Good morning, His Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today, I think it's my honor to be here to talk about my social enterprise. And I think this also a great chance not only to present about what My Dream Home has been doing in terms of contributing to SDG, but also a great time to learn from my friend also. So I'm Kong Yi and founders of My Dream Home, and at My Dream Home we produce the brick that each system is like Lego. When putting together to build the wall, it uses less labor, intensive, less cement, and it takes less time also. So next slide. So our vision is every Cambodian citizen has a decent home to live. We operate already 6 years, and we also have been features not only in Cambodia, but also in Channel New Asia, BBC also. And we also recognized as the promising social enterprise in the world in 2015. And it also the same award, but in Indonesia, Jakarta in 2017. And last year we won a gold medal in terms of SDG award from Deloitte also. And in terms of impact and what we have been doing. So this year, My Dream Home also got recognition from the ministry as the inclusive business also. Next. Yeah, as the social enterprise, when we talking about the social enterprise, mostly we talking about the issue. So like Albert Einstein said, if he has 1 hour to solve the problem, he would spend 50 minutes on the problem and only 5 minutes on the solution. So to give you the frame of what the affordable housing look like and how I can do, I would tell a little bit about the Cambodia. We have the population of nearly 16 million people, and out of that, 51% are women. And we have 24 provinces, 1 capital as Phnom Penh. And as the nation face a generation that people kill themselves during 1975 and 1979, so the literacy rate is relatively low, around 88%. And if we look at the people that boom after, so they age less than 35, account for nearly 70% of the total population. They tend to marry younger compared to the developed countries. So a girl maybe around 24 and boy around 27. And the nation has around 3 million residents, and out of that, around 90% use as the building. Next. Out of the household, around 3.5 million households, women, they represent about 1/4, 26%, and average household size is about 4 people, 4.3 people, and most of the residents that build in Cambodia, they have only a single room. So, I mean, not much space for the other people like children. And electricity as the main source to lighting, and it really improved around 80%. And access to clean water, it's still the issue in a rural area, but in the urban, it already improved a lot. And water access is around 23%. Yes, move up. Cambodia, in terms of the climate, we are related hot and humid. So Delhi temperature is around 30 degrees in Delhi time, but it can exceed 40 degrees sometime in March, April, and May. The wind is not really high. It's about 22 meters per second. So it's no typhoon or a big storm. And we don't have any record about the earthquake. So in terms of the country, I think it really safe. For the people here, it's around 150 in general, 158. And when we talking about building home, a home, normally we consider about 3 to 6 people live inside. Formerly, there are some well-known architects such as Dr. Wan Mani Wan, and the new and signing architect like Kang Hok and Bong Chansan. Yes, please move. So in terms of the affordable housing, I think it everywhere. So we have the population around 7 billion people, but 1.6 billion people, they need affordable home. Some they even don't have, some they live in the slum or in a place that is really not safe. So they need that house. I think in Indonesia, in a year, they need around 400,000. But in Cambodia, from now until 2030, we need more than 1 million homes, mainly for low and middle income people. Next. So there are many issues that prevent low income and especially the poor to access the affordable housing in terms of the housing price that is higher than what they earn, and especially the land price also increasingly year by year. Accessing to the long-term low interest rate, now I think there are a lot of MFI and bank that provide, but for poor, I think for my client, like around 14% that they can access. So it's still high, yeah. For workers that also involved in the building, so they just learn from each other. And there is also no construction material that can simplify people how to build the home by themselves. Maybe it's something strange when talking about people build the house by themselves, because in some developed country, this maybe they need engineer to verify. But it happened nearly all the developing country, and if this one, I mean, it built in accordance with the some supervised from the engineer or expert, this should be done. Let me give a little bit more explanation why this important is very important. I just try to find the data of the housing price in Cambodia, but in 2017, we found that the average house price is 63,000 and the GDP per capita is around 1,500. If we use the definition of affordable house worldwide, saying people need to spend no more than 30% of their income. That the definition. So we found that a single person need to spend 140 years. 140 years, while the life expectancy is only 68. So I mean, people cannot have home, Or if we use the two people combined, it's still 70 years. So I mean, earn from the birth until death, and then cannot have home. That's something serious, and we need to find a solution. That's why a team of three, including me, I don't even have the next slide. Yeah. That why the team of three, including me, that even don't have skill in engineer. And when I'm doing that business, some people even told me I'm the craziest man. Why, not working with NGO like you present. I work in several NGO. That time we have, I think, good salary compared to working in social enterprise. That, in 2014 or 15, no one know about that word about social enterprise in Cambodia. And we even invest our own money in building that. That's why people told me the craziest man to contribute to that. Up. Next. So that's the reason we developed the brick that its system like Lego. We found that in Cambodia, we have low literacy rate. So we try to simplify the brick that it's system like Lego. So even lady, they can build the house. The brick that we make it also environmental friendly. The process no need for burning, and when building it take less labor intensive, 5 times less cement and sand, and the brick is also stronger than 3 times stronger than conventional building method. Next. So when we build a house, we use rebar every square meter to make a house really sustain or resistant to strong wind. We don't have earthquake, but in case that there is earthquake, this system, it also improve a lot and really help. And we have a hole inside the brick that allow the air flow from the bottom to the up, so it cooling the house, so people can feel better living inside the house also. And we don't need even less drilling or cutting compared to the other conventional building method. Just next. So our solution for the people during this time, it's not easy for us as a team to go to the rural community or go to meet with the house owner. So we provide sometimes online training, and if there is a case that it need to travel or to go to the on-site, we will go to provide training with 3 hours or 4 hours so that the homeowner also can build the house. We take to not only the homeowner but local, so it creates job also. We try to focus more on how to build the house also strong and environmental friendly. Next. Our business model is simple. We just make the brick, we train and we sell to the community. But we also have subsidy for those who have ID card poor. We will sell it low price, and currently we are working with the other NGO and try to subsidize for those even not have ID card poor, but building. I mean, anyone can buy, but purpose is to grant or to do anything for the poor. So we discount the price of the brick for them also. Next. There are also a lot of positive feedback from our customer that the house that they build or they built by the local contractor, it's not expensive. This is something that what they want, and they really like, because the house inside is cooler compared to the similar house that built in neighborhood. So it's cooler and have a good air. And for the civil engineer, they also found it save their time and also money. Also, next. In terms of impact, so I also will address the impact SDG 11. So if we focus on the 11.1 mentioned about the access to adequate, safe, and affordable house, and look at the another housing 2030, that is the framework developed by Habitat and also the European Committee for Housing, that focus on 4 chapters on environmental impact, making the economic efficiency and social inclusiveness. We see that My Dream Home, we build more than 1,000 homes already today, and employ direct employee of 22 workers. and contribute more than 8,000 of carbon emission. This one I just calculate only how many tons of carbon emission that not produced when or processed during the making the brick, but not count the process when building the brick. Like I use 5 times less sand and cement during the construction. I'm not sure you know that every ton of carbon emission, it also produces 1 ton of CO2 into the atmosphere also. That the contribution in terms of the climate change. So I would like to also give some lesson learned during we have doing in that business as the 6th year. We learned that in building the affordable home, our target is for low and middle income people. But when we build, we cannot build a house that not look good. You know, people try to find the way that look inspired. So our model is we sell the brick to the rich so that they can build nice villa decoration like brown or something. So when the poor find, oh, that building it also used for brown or something luxury or high, and when they can use it, they feel this is something that they really like. So understand about the culture, about what people want, it really, really important. And mostly when we're talking about the affordable home, they say something low quality and very cheap and maybe they last long, cannot be guaranteed. Yeah. Lesson number 2, focus on the real need. When we do the social enterprise, we cannot say, please buy my product. I do something good for the poor, right? We cannot say like that. We need to make the thing that it available on the market. It need, it has. So like this time, it really hard time. So the market really changed. Before we sell around 20% to the developer, but we cannot do anymore by selling now 100% directly to the customer. If there is no need, maybe the social business also collapse. But we even can make some revenue that can grow. This is the thing that should focus on the real need. Lesson number 3. It also simplify the building, the way that people can also participate. During this time, even a barber during the lockdown, he stopped for 3 months to build his own house. You know, he don't even expect that he could build, and the case went viral when he a barber even don't have skill, and then he can build a beautiful home. So try to find the way that not too much difficult in case that we want to make the technology that can be adopted or adapted by the community. Try to simplify and understand. And number 4, work hard. As the social enterprise, we even work not normal. If we just think about maybe Saturday, they are, or Sunday not work, or after 5 p.m. we cannot do anything. This is something that I think social enterprise or social entrepreneur should not do, because if you want to survive, you want to grow fast, if you want to think about the impact, try to do it as hard as we can to make the social enterprise go fast as we can. Because in the term of social enterprise, there are also the other that can go and compete. And if we cannot, satisfy the demand of the customer, this is something maybe we cannot generate enough revenue while we try to focus on triple impact like people, planet. But if we cannot certify, make some adjustment, maybe customer cannot wait for our product. For example, if we want to travel, we know that the logistic it's not well arranged here. If we not save time or cannot certify, that's why we sometimes work even at night. Lesson number 5, it needs collaboration and contribution from a key stakeholder. We learned that in the affordable sector, if we try to do alone, maybe not success. So government play important role in creating policy, tech incentive that motivate the other company, social enterprise to create, while bank can provide long-term low interest rate to the customer, or maybe even consider no collateral. And this is really, really important, creating the good infrastructure, because the poor, they also don't want to live in really far away that people cannot access, right? Yes, that's all for what I learned. But before end, I would like to show about 3-minute video about what is my dream home compared with the traditional red clay brick. Yes, please enjoy. Chào mừngបងប្អូនពុកម៉ែទាំងអស់គ្នាជាទីគោរពនិងជាទីមេត្រី ថ្ងៃនេះយើងខ្ញុំមានក្តីសោមនស្សរីករាយនៅក្នុងការបង្ហាញជូននៅការប្រកួតគ្នារវាងឥដ្ឋបរិស្ថាននិងឥដ្ឋក្រហមថាតើមួយណាមានភាពងាយស្រួលសាងសង់ច្រើនជាងហើយមួយណាមានភាពចំណេញច្រើនជាងអញ្ចឹងសូមរកចាំទស្សនាជាមួយយើងខ្ញុំដូចតទៅ
Round of applause, please, for Bong Kong Ni. So thank you, Bong Kong Ni, for the very interesting explanation about how you can build a home like Lego. So building on your own which is also adhering to safety, affordability, and sustainability, which also the stable place to live also ensures a good livelihood for the people. So maybe before we go to the next speaker, there will also be a question and answer at the end of the session. And for the viewers at home, you can use the chat feature to ask your questions. So the next speaker here, we have from one of Indonesia's best person, Mr. Gigi Septianto. So
Mr. Gigi is the co-founder and CEO of We Care ID, an Indonesian-based medical crowdfunding platform that enables underserved patients to secure funding for medical procedures. We Care ID believes that everyone deserves quality healthcare regardless of their circumstances. Through his work, he has been awarded many recognitions, including Obama Foundation Leaders Asia Pacific 2019, Genti Asia Tatler, and Australia Asian Emerging Leaders in Social Enterprise. He is passionate about helping people to attain a better quality of life by improving their mental and physical health. Please, Mas Gigi, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. This is a very honored for us to share together with amazing Cambodian entrepreneurs, which I also learned a lot previously. Would love to learn further later if we can connect after this program. Okay, can I share my screen? Yeah, let me share my screen. All right, let's see. Okay, first of all, my name is Gigi Setianto. I'm the co-founder and CEO of WeCare.id. So basically, what we do is that we are a medical crowdfunding platform. We're based in Indonesia. We try to help people to crowdfund for their medical expenses so that they can access a better and sufficient healthcare services for them. So why are we doing it? Because Indonesia is a large archipelago country, and there is like this inequality in terms of healthcare expertise and also infrastructures in the country. For example, if you got sick in this red areas, this outer, which is mainly out of Java Islands, it will be very difficult for you to get the sufficient healthcare services, so that you will need to be transported to better facilities, which is cost you a lot of money. And we saw that even though we have a national insurance program, there are still about 30 to 40% of medical expenses that is still out of pocket. So on top of the national insurance, you will still need a lot of money in order to get optimum and perhaps preferred healthcare services in the different areas. So this is also reflecting on my experience during my childhood. So I was born in a very small city, in very small village in Java. And back then, my mom was working in the hospitals, rather far in the city. And then at some point, perhaps when I was like 15 or 14 years old, she built a local clinic, actually. So it's the only clinic on the village. And because like a very small village and it's very small clinics, and it was like just nearby my home, one of the patient's room was actually nearby, just beside my room. So at one night, I heard one of the patients in emergency situations. He cried a lot, he suffered a lot, he screamed a lot. And since then, I kind of get this invitations or calling, how me, even though I'm not medical doctors and I'm not planning to be medical doctor, I wasn't planning to be a medical doctor, but how me, through my expertise, will be able to help people to get decent access to healthcare, because I know how it's suffering. I know how they suffer if they cannot get the healthcare that they deserve. So that's how kind of me got this motivation to help people and try to create a platform that will be able to help people to access healthcare services. And then one other interesting story that also happens in other part of ASEAN countries. This is not happening in Indonesia, but this also in Philippines back then in 2012, before I started WeCare. So this is a public transportation in. I haven't been able to be in Cambodia, but hopefully later I will be able to visit Cambodia. But this is the public transportation in the Philippines. In Indonesia, we all have like similar ones actually. But not like this, but still like a public transport, like a mini car public transport. So in one of the trips to the Philippines, I found when I've tried this public transportation called jeepney, when I got into the jeepney, there were a man, he talked something in Tagalog, which I didn't understand. And then at some point he pulled out a sheet of paper, and then what he shown was a medical record. And after that medical record has been shown to all of the passengers, most of the passengers start to give him money. So that is something that perhaps something that can be scaled if there is people in need and needs a lot of money in order to pay healthcare services. Can we provide a platform which where people will be able to show that they need some money, and then we can provide the whole transparency process and a reliable system so that at the other side of the platform, the donors or the other people who wants to donate money would be able to trust the persons who ask for the money. So that's why that's one of the inspirations that we start WeCare.id. So basically, we are a medical-focused crowdfunding platform. We work with the medical partners across the country, which is healthcare providers, small clinics, healthcare departments in the government, healthcare organizations. They help us to submit the patients. So they verify it, they do the field checkup with the patients, and then afterward, we help the patients to create their campaigns on our website. We help them to make the stories and then create the appealing pictures so that at the other side, we can campaign it to our ecosystem of donors, which now more than 70,000 of donors, and it's still growing, so that people in the other side of the platform will be able to trust the patients and the platform itself, and then start to donate. And at the end of the day, the patients can get access to enough sufficient fund in order to get healthcare that they deserve. And we see this as an opportunity because, like, in Indonesia itself, the culture of donations itself is pretty big because it is a religious country. It has like an alms-giving culture. I believe it's all in the religions, and the willingness of people to help each other is also very big. In 2018, Indonesia is the world #1 generous country in the world, and I believe other ASEAN countries also generous as well. So this is something that we can leverage. There is a lot of people, 250 million people that want to help each other. All what we do is that we should create platforms so that they can channel their goodness, they can channel their good intentions towards a reliable platform. We just have to unlock it. We just have to provide an easy access people to give to each other. And then in the other side of the needs itself, we still see that I mentioned before, 30 to 40% of the medical expenses are out of pocket. And then also we try to calculate how much actually is the gap. And the gap is this big actually, especially for the catastrophic disease such as cancer, stroke, and other critical disease. So this is something that perhaps unmet needs, and there is like this huge potential, these philanthropic potentials that also can be leveraged to be an alternative financing for healthcare expenses. So that's how we still see this is a very scalable opportunity, and also there is also huge needs as well in terms of accessing alternative financing for healthcare. And then, yeah, so far we've been around since actually 2017. In 2019 and 2021, we've been able to deliver more than $3 million in terms of donation values. There are more than 70,000 donors in our platform, and we've funded more than 5,000 patients and also campaigns to our platform. And last year, since the COVID-19 started, we also unintentionally becoming a logistic hub, COVID-19 donation hub for Indonesian hospitals. So basically what we do is that because we connected with a lot of hospitals, like thousands of hospitals within our platform, and then we also connected with a lot of companies, a lot of people who want to do good. So what we do is that we also facilitate the logistic of the delivery of the donation itself, because like it's very difficult for getting masks, getting other PPEs, other protection suits during the COVID-19, because the demands were so high and we're not ready with the supply. So that's what we do. We create a a procurement hub and also logistic hub, so that the funds that has been allocated by all of these donors can be taken care very well through us, and then we can connect directly and send it directly to our beneficiaries, which is thousands of hospitals in the country. And this is what we have been done so far during the past almost 2 years right now with pandemic situations. We've been sending around like 2.5 million PPEs to like 3,000 healthcare providers across the countries, and we're still going on. Not just PPEs, but we also send food supplies like this. We help companies deliver nutritious supplies to our beneficiaries on the ground with the help of the medical partners and also with the help of the local partners itself. We also do some of the on-ground activities as well. We try to give them a access to better nutritious products and also food as well. We train them how to create a mini farm for their families, so that it's easier for them to get nutritious food, and it's also cheaper as well. So that's something that just came up recently as the pandemic still haunting us. And because we are a social enterprise, we even though we try to be as impactful as possible, but we also think about sustainability. So this is our revenue model so far. The first is just like normal crowdfunding platform. I believe other crowdfunding also doing this. We have a platform fee from 5 to 10% platform fee. So every donation, we cut about 5 to 10% platform fee for us, and then it can include tips. So you can tipping us. It's helpful for us to run our operations. And other than that, other sources, we do optimization. So basically, it's very hard actually to get your campaigns funded. So many of the hospitals or many of the health organizations, they want to make campaigns as well. So we help them to create a better campaign, and then we help them to optimize it through social media and also some of other digital marketing strategies. So for that, we also charge in terms of consultancy fee. Other than that, because the logistic things that we do, we also charge for logistic services. So we work with the third-party logistic services so that the process of the donation delivery can be as efficient as possible. We've been very thankful that there are a lot of companies, a lot of institutions, a lot of public figures as well that sees that what we do is kind of impactful and good, and then they support us, and then they help us to get more exposure. And this is just a bonus. This is just something that increase our spirits. But the more important is that how our impact can be sustained on the ground. So speaking about social entrepreneurship itself, perhaps if you get some kind of confused what is actually social enterprise. So basically what we do is that we're trying to be in the middle between traditional charity and also traditional business. But actually in Indonesia itself, the kind of legitimation is not yet there. So as a social enterprise, we usually have two legal entities. So the first is we have nonprofit entities also. And then we also have for-profit entities. So through that, both legal entities, we try to optimize both of the entities in order to balance the sustainability as well, and also the impact that we can deliver to our beneficiaries. So this is how the spectrum of the social enterprise, and we kind of try to be in the middle of not being too profitable, but not being to balance the profit and also balancing the impact as well. So but if we get confused, how is actually social enterprise? Actually, it's not really complex. Actually, it's not really complicated. All business actually can have social impacts. What we need to do is that we can do it in a more conscious way. Any other business like a small mom and pop shop, or even like a small food stall, we can make it social. We can make it conscious. We can make it environment friendly. For example, if you are selling food, can your food not using plastic for the packaging, or like can your food came from a better supply system that is environmental friendly? Can your food be more healthier than the usual business? So that's kind of thing. So we can think of any business that is existing right now, then make it more conscious, make it more environmental friendly, make it more social friendly or healthier, something like that. So that's basically the foundations and the spirit of the social entrepreneurship itself. And then if you're kind of confused where we can start it, of course we have SDGs here. We can start find a problem that we care about more than ourselves in a good way, so not obsessed too much, but also something that can be our calling. So just like me previously, that I have my calling when I hear for the first time in my life, like people in suffering just beside my bedroom. That's something that perhaps quite calling for me. So this is something that you can also explore. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of issues in the SDGs. Pick one that interests you the most, and then start from there. If you're still confused, this is like a small frame, like a simple framework on how you can actually finding like a more sweet spot for your ideas, so that it can be sustained in the long run. I'm sorry it's in Bahasa Indonesia, but at least the title of the column is in English. So first, find the passion and interest, so that it's easier for you to do it because it's your passion, and then find your skills that you are able to leverage because you need something, you need a capacity, the right capacity in order to solve specific problems, just like Richard or the previous home entrepreneurs. They have this engineering capacity and this engineering skill, so that it's easier for them to create an advanced engineering product for them. So, but it can be anything. It can be any skill, and then you can find the social issues after that. Social issues that attract you the most. It can be healthcare. It can be in environment. It can be in education. And then after that, you find the target group, because it's different. It's delivering impact to like childhood with the all elder people. It's kind of different. You need different program. You need different approach. You need different product or services. So going deep into your target group or your target market will be very necessary in order to create a product market fit for your venture. And then after that, basically, if you got that 4 elements wrap up, you can create some of the most creative ventures that you can come up. So something like that. So this is something that personally helped me during my early time of doing WeCare, and try to even now kind of because like because like entrepreneurship it's always evolving. We're always evolving. So in order to stay relevant, in order to find where we kind of can move after this, we still do this, because we still do the evaluation, so that whenever we come up with new services or new product, it can be relevant for our targeted beneficiaries. So that's all for me. Hopefully later on we can share a lot more about the social entrepreneurship, whether in Indonesia or in ASEAN. And I look forward to support each other. Thank you so much. Still muted.
She is the co-founder and CEO of Garda Pangan, a food bank based in Surabaya, Indonesia, which helps distribute edible food from ending up as waste. She is also founder and CEO of other sociopreneurships, such as Starside Edukasi, which is focused in disaster management for kids, and Alang-Alang Zero Waste Store, which focus on the sustainable, green, and eco-friendly products. Garda Pangan has received many awards. Among them are Top 20 Asian Young Sociopreneur Program and third winner Seeds for Change, Our Food, Our Competition. So please, Mbak Eva, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor for me to be able to meet you all virtually. Greetings for Honorable Ambassador, Mr. Sudirman Haseng, and also other respected speakers, Richard Yim, Kong Ying Haf, Pak Gigi Septianto, and Professor Bramantio Johan Putro. I've learned so much from the previous presentations, and today I'm going to share about what we have been doing in Garda Pangan as a social enterprise working on food loss and food waste issue in Indonesia. And later on, we can have discussion further in Q&A session. All right, let me share my presentation. Okay, so I'm Eva Batiar. I'm founder and CEO of Garda Pangan. And here's our tagline, why be need if you can feed people in need? And here are some background stories. So in Indonesia, food loss and food waste, it is a serious problem that is not much discussed and addressed as other type of waste, such as plastic waste, for example. And maybe not many of us are even aware that Indonesia is actually the world's second country with the largest food disposal, according to the Economist Intelligence Unit. So every citizen disposes 315 kilograms of food waste per year in average. And that puts Indonesia among the lowest performing countries in the effort to reduce food waste. So it's such a huge problem, but why should we bother about food waste, right? A lot of people in my country, we used to think that we live in a rich country, we have such abundant resources, right? But let me guide you through the reasons. So the first one, food waste means economic loss, and that's pretty sure, because when we throw away a plate of food, we basically throw away such amount of money to buy those food, right? But it doesn't mean that when you buy a portion of rice, for example, that you only lost the price that you pay to buy the price. It goes way beyond that. And not only we waste away that money, we also throw away all the resources needed to produce and to bring the food right in front of you. So the economic cost includes vast quantities of land, water, fertilizer, that were used to produce food that is never eaten, right? Labor costs, and then fuel burned to process, to transport, to cook them, and not to mention the cost of municipal solid waste as well. And then the second consequence is its serious environmental impact. Right? When food waste breaks down in landfill, it produces methane. It is the greenhouse emissions that is 23 times more potent than carbon dioxide. And it also contributes to global warming, or should we call it a climate crisis now. In fact, food waste contributes to 6 until 7% of greenhouse emissions in the world. But what hits me the most is that food waste is also an irony, as on the other side, 19.4 million of people in Indonesia, I think they still struggle for food every day. And millions of Indonesian people suffer from malnutrition and stunting. So what came to my mind at that time was, why don't we send that massive amount of food for these people, right? Why we bin it if we can feed people in need? So that's when we came up with Garda Pangan. It is a social enterprise. We have two main goals, which is food waste and loss eradications, but also at the same time, hunger relief. Here's a glimpse of what our organization looks like. It is quite unique, but actually very similar with what Pak Gigi has in his platform. At one side, we work as a food bank whose main purpose is to serve the people while reducing food waste. This might seem a little bit like a non-profit organizations. So our partners donate the food with no charge. And we also distribute the food to our beneficiaries with no charge involved as well. But let me see. Yeah, In order to have a sustainable and independent funding to run the food bank, we have a couple of business units as well. So they are all still related to food loss and food waste reduction, but all profits generated would be used to, again, to provide funding. So this scheme enables us to not, heavily rely on mere donations, because at this point we cannot reach to stop the operations due to lack of funding from donations, grants, and something like that. And it also gives us a sense of freedom, right? To reject donations from, let's say, companies, businesses, or institutions that maybe doesn't share the same value with us. Okay, let me go back. Right. So here are some of our activities in our food bank, or what we call food rescue. That literally means rescuing surplus food so that they don't end up as waste. So what we do is basically tackling the food loss and food waste issue from its biggest source. And one of them is from the hospitality industries and food businesses. So we found out that food waste in the food businesses is actually considered as necessary evil, right, in this sector. And wasting food is always considered as the easiest, it is the cheapest, and it is the fastest option to get rid of their food surplus. So the way we work is by, we're having a partnership with these hospitality industries and food businesses. So we pick up the unsold food that is still in a perfectly edible conditions from restaurants, hotels, bakeries that would otherwise go to waste. And we distribute them instead to those who are food insecure. So we pick up the food on the arranged schedule, right? We run the quality check, we sort, we pack them if necessary, and send them right away to people in needs. And then not only picking up foods from businesses, we also rescue food from the big events like wedding, conference, festivals, party, any celebration, you name it, that used to involve huge amount of food. So in this case, we also have a partnership with wedding organizers and caterings. So basically people can request us to pick up the surplus food from their events. And believe it or not, we used to rescue up to 500 portions of food from one single luxurious wedding in Indonesia. All right. Another source of food loss is actually coming from the farmer's field. So the next one that we do is gleaning. We call it gleaning, which is gathering leftover fruits or vegetables or other produce to tackle the food loss from the farmer's field. We call it gleaning, but it is basically the same as other food rescue, but we're rescuing, oops, sorry. But we, sorry. Okay. Sorry, there's a phone coming to my laptop. Okay, so gleaning, it is basically the same as other food rescue, but we're rescuing them directly on the farmer's field. So this actually happens on peak harvest season, where usually commodity prices plunge significantly, that even the selling price would not cover the harvesting costs, right? So farmers tend to choose to leave their produce rotting on the field without harvesting them. And in this picture, for instance, is when we were gleaning the cabbage. The price plunged from, usually it was 3,000 per kilograms, 3,000 rupiahs, but then it plunged to only 150 rupiah per kilograms. So the farmers then chose to not harvest the cabbage. They leave it on the field. So that's what we pick up as well. And then in addition to, rescuing food or the produce on the ground, we realized that it is also very important to spread the awareness about food waste issue and sustainable consumption as well to as much as individuals. So we actively roll out creative campaign, either on the street or through the social media, by providing useful and practical tips, right, that people can apply daily to reduce their food waste at the home. All right, and this is a policy advocacy. This is something that we do because we realize that Indonesia, until right now, we still don't have a very dedicated rules, policies and regulations about food waste. But this is actually something that we can do to significantly reduce our food loss and on food waste produced in Indonesia. And we can learn so much from other countries that have applied the policies. But this is a long time process, so we're still on the way. All right, so as I've said before, we also have some, couple business units that we use to, sustainably fund our operations. So here are some of them. The first one is food waste management service. We provide we call it actually a sustainable and responsible food waste management service. So this is mostly for big scale companies, that used to hire a vendor to destroy a huge amount of near expired foods being returned. So what we do is basically offering them a new approach, that instead of destroying food, we can make the most out of the food, distributing them safely to people in needs in timely manner. And we also provide food waste workshops and educations to schools, offices, communities, and so on. And our next business line is what we call, it's ugly produce business, because we would like to encourage people to rethink about what they consume. So here's actually what we call ugly. It is the produce or foods or vegetables that is, slightly wrinkled, undersized, so they do not meet the supermarket standard. Some of them are oddly shaped, maybe slightly blemished, overripe, or simply, overstocked. These types of produce, they might be not very appealing, and usually end up as waste. While we believe that they're actually as tasty, as helpful, and nutritious. And in fact, 40% of the whole produce never really reach the consumers. So this is a perfect example of how our consumption pattern, goes a long way. We might not realize that our habit of only buying a perfect, beautiful, shiny fruits and vegetables could actually be harmful to the planet. So we work with fruit distributors and then the farmers group by giving their unsold ugly produce the second chance, by offering them to our customers with more affordable price, usually with discount ranging from 25 until 70% from retail price. And at the same time, we also turn this ugly produce into healthy snacks. As you can see here, we have cold pressed juice. We also have dried fruits, dried chili, dried lemon, dried limes, jams, and then we also have ice creams and so on. All right, so that's what we've been doing in Garda Pangan. But people usually ask, where does actually the food goes to? So we currently have 128 locations of beneficiaries all over Surabaya. Each one of those locations has been carefully assessed and surveyed and thoughtfully selected. So we have a couple target criteria, such as poor families, disabled, homeless, elderly persons, shelter, foster care, and so on. And this is just another principle that we have, at least we try to apply, is that we try to minimize our, single-use plastic usage during our food distributions. So as you can see here, during our food distributions, All of our beneficiaries have already carried their own plates, their own food containers. So it is completely a zero waste food distribution. Because we think that, I think it doesn't make sense if we try to save the food waste, but at the same time, we create another type of waste, which is plastic waste, right? All right, speaking of our quantitative impact, since our very first operation in June 2017, Garda Pangan has rescued 190,000 portions of food, or equal with approximately 48 tons of potential food waste. And we serve 133,000 undernourished beneficiaries and still counting. And in terms of our impact on SDG, we hope that we are able to contribute to 4 points in Sustainable Development Goals, which are the SDG number 2, zero hunger, and number 3, which is good health and well-being, by providing meals to those who are food insecure and suffering from malnutrition and stunting. Point 11, which is sustainable cities and communities, by bridging the gap of people or business or institutions that have the food surplus with the people who are food insecure or those in need. And then also number 12, which is responsible consumption and production, by actively promoting responsible consumption and also production, so that we can be able to generate less food loss and food waste. And lastly, of course, number 13, which is climate action, because as I said before, by reducing food loss and food waste, we actually can reduce our huge impact to our greenhouse gas emissions. All right, so I think that's all, and I will be happy to discuss further in our Q&A session. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Of food waste for the society environment, thus helping to reach the goal of the Sustainable Development Goals. And also for our last speaker, we have Professor Bramantyo, who is the chairman of PPM School of Management, which is a higher education school which relates in business. He also holds various prominent positions, such as Vice President of Indonesia Global Compact Network, Vice Chairman of Association of the Institute of Indonesia Private Higher Education, Vice Chairman of SNI Awards, and many others. Please, Professor Bram, the floor is yours.
Pak Bram, it's still mute.
Professor Bram, can you please unmute? From here, it's still muted, Prof.
Hello, Tess. Can you hear now? No?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, moderator. His Excellency, Mr. Ambassador of Indonesia in Cambodia, Mr. Sudirman Haseng, all speakers, and ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to thank you for the opportunity for me to share some ideas about the sociopreneurs. And as the last speaker, I think it is an easy job for me because I just give some summary of the previous material and some new ideas. Hopefully, my material should not take too long time. Let me share the material from my desktop. Okay, this is the wait. Okay, this is the title given to me, Ideas and Innovation of Young Entrepreneurs as Catalysts in the Implementation of SDGs and ASEAN Community. I'd like to explain 4 things. The first is defining social entrepreneurship. Hopefully, we have the same language about what social enterprises is. The second is about the leaders in social enterprises, because you know that nowadays we have a lot of willingness to enhance the number of young people to be the social entrepreneurs. And according to the research, we find out that a lot of social entrepreneurs are very young, less than 44 years old. According to the Research Indonesia, moderator, we have in Indonesia around more than 300,000 social enterprises. I don't know, I don't have the data in Cambodia. I hope that in Cambodia, the number of social enterprises also increasing now. In Indonesia, now around more than 300,000 social enterprises. The third issue is about trend in social enterprises, and the last point is about the developing young social entrepreneurs. There are 4 things that I would like to explain. Let's start the first, defining social enterprise. I quote from the Martin Luther King. He said that life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? This is a very inspiring question for me, inspiring question for me, because if we know that what we are doing is, well, give the good thing for other people, we feel happy and will satisfy. And I think the people who work in a social enterprises feel that they feel useful to society. This is the definition of social enterprises according to Indonesia National Entrepreneurship Draft Bill. It is said that a venture, well, social enterprises is a venture that have vision and mission to solve social problems and or promote positive changes of the welfare of society and environment through activities that have measurable impacts and which reinvest the majority of profit to support the mission. The point here, what I would like to stress out is about the social problem. I think all of the social enterprises come up with the solution how to solve some issues in society, like income cap, or a lot of social enterprises focus on how to improve the skill of people who are unfortunate to have the job opportunity, like women and those who have the disabilities. That's about the social problem. The second is about the welfare of society. What I understand about welfare society is basically, let's say in terms of the income, there are a lot of income cap because of a lot of people don't have opportunity to work. That's why some people try to enhance the skill and opportunity to work in order to give them chance to have higher income. Or if we cannot provide the job opportunity for them, what we can do is to try to give something, to provide something, so they can spend less money for their life. Like what we have listened from the second speaker today about the building the house with the lower cost. This is one way, I think, in order to reduce the income gap by lowering the spending for their daily life. And the second is about the environment's issue. I think the last speaker, Bu Eva Bakhtar, speak about the something to the environment, about the waste, about the ethans, and the second speaker is speaking about the reduction of the emission of carbon dioxide. I think those issues are related to the environment issue. And the last point I want to raise in this definition is about the reinvest the majority of the profit to support the mission. A lot of, I think most of the social enterprises reinvest the profit in order to enhance the scope and activity of the social enterprise itself in order to reach the higher mission. That's the definition of the Indonesia National Entrepreneurship on social enterprises. And these are some of the definitions that I think we are aware what social enterprises is. The first, I quote from soliver.org. It is defined as the application of entrepreneurship attributes to creativity, innovation, and motivation combined with the drive to solve the most pressing social problem in society. What it is stressed here is about the creativity, innovation, and motivation. I think a lot of entrepreneurs try to innovate something new in order to introduce something that normally people don't think, and they try to give something with a certain benefit for the society. The second issue is about the solution to social, cultural, and environmental issue. The third is social entrepreneurship is the pursuit of social objective with innovative methods. I give the red color here about the pursuit of social objective with innovative methods because it is mostly unique in every social enterprises to have the certain innovation in their own social enterprises. And the last point is about the social entrepreneurship definition is not only generate profit, but also are motivated by social mission and reinvest significant proportion of the profit for the achievement of their stated mission. I quote this from platform Usaha Mandiri 2018. I think I don't need to read all the division here. From Cashin Teresa 2016, the definition of social enterprises is related to the effective, innovative, and sustainable solution. That's first. The second is design and implement the intervention, product, and services that improve the well-being of marginalized individual and population. So the second point is about how the social enterprises try to improve the quality of life, including the income of the marginalized individual and population. The third point is about the social enterprises as organization that is formed to meet social or environment challenge that streamlines its operation and supply chain to maximize social impact and minimize the use of resources. These are the definition of social enterprises. So what is the difference between the business and social enterprises? I think there are at least 2 points I want to raise here. The difference between the business enterprises and social enterprises. In terms of the business enterprises, there are 2 points. The first is about the profit-oriented. I think everybody knows that every business wants to get profit. The profit is expected to grow and sustain in the future. And the second is about the metrics, how we measure the performance of the business entity. Mostly, the measurement is about the profitability, financial soundness, and customer satisfaction. That's from the business point of view. What about the social enterprises? I think there are 2 things that have the uniqueness in the social enterprises. The first is social enterprises can be a non-profit or combine profit and return to society. What it means is some of the social enterprises in Indonesia, among 300,000 social enterprises, are purely non-profit organizations. But some of them are combined. They are profit organizations, but they want to return some of the profit, the majority of profit to the society. Profit for the growth and sustainability of social and cultural mission. And the second is about the metrics. What is the measure of the social enterprises as the indication of the success of their performance? I think they are related to 3P. In United Nations, we call 3P as profit, people, and planet. But we prefer to use the term prosperity, people, and planet, instead of profit, people, and planet. The metrics consist of prosperity, people, planet, related to performance, and cultural issues and voluntary effort. All of these things, ladies and gentlemen, about the social enterprises, normally related to 4 principles of the 4 areas of the SDGs: human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. These are some examples of the social enterprises. The first is like NGO. Social enterprises have social mission in a problem they want to solve, like increasing the self-sufficiency of the disabled, providing affordable source providing affordable resources for them. The third is reducing unemployment among structural youth. Those are points that try to be solved by some NGOs. The second is some of the social enterprises, like profit companies, they utilize the business model in order to bring in profit, like by employing them in fair trade of coffee production, for example, by manufacturing and selling extremely affordable solar lamps, by providing customized job training and placement program in the formal sector. These are some example of the social enterprises in Indonesia. Now, what are the leaders? Who are the leaders in social enterprises? According to the research in Indonesia, these are some figures for us. The histogram shows us that young generation dominate the leadership of social entrepreneurs. As we look at this histogram, the majority of the leaders of social enterprises is under 44 years old. The total is more than 60% of the leaders in social enterprises. And it is not surprising, perhaps, that there's no one leaders in social enterprises with the age above 60. So we are happy that a lot of most of the young generations have a lot of concern to the SDG issues. And the second is, according to the pie chart on the right side, 41% of the leaders of social enterprises are men, 40% of women, and 90% both managed by men and women. It means that at least the concern of the young generation are equal between men and women in order to solve the social problem and environment. What is the characteristic of the sociopreneurs? I noticed there are at least 3 things as the characteristic of social entrepreneurship. The first is the focus on social mission, of course, and it is related to the SDGs. The second is magnitudes of impact. Some of the social enterprises have still low impact because of the scope of the business is still in a very small geography. But a lot of social enterprises try to enhance the magnitudes into the national level, like what we heard already from Ibu Eva Bakhtiar and Pak Gigi Septianto. They try to enhance the area of the activities into the national level, not only in the certain local level. And the third is that most of the sociopreneurs open to critique and feedback. I think it is the characteristic of young people, I think, moderator, because a lot of people try to open the mind, give the chance to other people to give the feedback in order to improve the quality of the social entrepreneurs, social enterprises they are managing. In Indonesia, there are 3 sectors that are favorable for the social entrepreneurs to develop. The highest is the creative industry, and I think it is given support a lot from the government, because now government try to encourage people to enter the creative industry. They contribute 22% of the social enterprises. The second is agro-industry. The third is education. And the rest, well, I think there are a lot of social enterprises who work in various areas according to classification of SDGs, in total 47%. But most of them, the percentage for each of them is quite small. So the 3 most popular social enterprises in Indonesia are creative industry, agro-industry, and education. This is some example. I think I don't need to explain some of these examples I gave here. I just give some picture and what it's about. It is the Jawara who provide the home to Indonesia finest heritage food products, because you know that Indonesia is one of the heaven of food and agribusiness. The second is, I think this is still related to the agro business. It is Tani Hub. Tani Hub was developed by, I think, 3 young people who have concern with the farming product. Sometimes they are wasted, and in the season where at the time where the product very high season, they are wasted, and sometimes the price become very low, as Eva Bakhter has explained already. And Tani Hub tried to collect them and to sell them to different place, so they try to keep the price quite high. By doing that, at least Tani Hub can maintain the income of the farmer in the rural area. This is Duanyam. It is about the product of like bag and others from the village, from the East Flores, east part of Indonesia, by developing Duanyam, the income of the women in East Flores can be enhanced. Now, the third point is about the trend in social enterprises. What's happening in Indonesia? The trend, the first is, I think there are 3 points I would like to raise here, the trend of social enterprises. The first is, most of the social enterprises try to work to promote inclusivity and addressing inequality. Mostly, they are concerned with disabilities and opportunity for women to work and have the better futures. A lot of training and opportunity of work are provided for them. The second is they operate outside capital and big cities. A lot of social enterprises in Indonesia try to work in remote area, like work together with farmer and others. And the third point is mostly young and strong commitment to solving social problem. As I saw before, most of the social entrepreneurs are very young people, less than 44 years old, and no one above 60 years old become the leaders of the social entrepreneurs. This is what I would like to stress, that in the future, I think I'm very optimistic that a lot of young people still have willing to join the social enterprises. From the enterprise perspective, this is the research from the research according to the global firm and the local partner. It means that most of this work, particularly in the developing work context, relies on partnership between sizable corporation and local social entrepreneurship. What it means is that a lot of social enterprises can develop, can survive because of the collaboration between large corporations and social enterprises. Even though we cannot deny that a lot of social enterprises can survive by themselves without any collaboration with big corporation. But according to the research, big corporations also have the concern to step into the social enterprises activities. So one way they do this is by having the collaboration with the social enterprises. This is another example with Asoka, hybrid value chains. They also collaboration with big companies. And in Indonesia, we have the Astra Honda Motor, also have the collaboration with some high school, like we call it SMK, Sekolah Menengah Kejuruan, school for the, what they call it, the Kejuruan Vocation School. By collaborating the large company like Astra with the vocation school, Astra can open the opportunity for them to learn in the company how to work, how to use the high-tech technology in the company. And for those who have high quality, high competency, they can be recruited by the Astra to be the employee of the Astra Honda Motor. Now, what is the important things in order to enhance and increase the number of the young people to have the concern to jump into the social enterprises? I think what we need to do is to enhance this sensitivity to SDG issue for young people. The first is young people need to be challenged about what they are facing in the society, not only challenged for themselves, but also in the society. The sensitivity of of their activity into the and their impact of what they're doing to the society. The second is about the population being affected. The third is about the population and geography affected. The fourth is the root causes of the problem. And the fifth is if they're aware about the challenge, the population being affected, the geography, and they understand the root cause of the problem, so they can be challenged to provide pathways, strategy, and program. By doing this, I believe that a lot of young people will have the improved sensitivity to join into the social enterprises. Now, what is the role of the government? I think there are four things, at least, the role of the government. The first is about the outreach program. One point that needs to be done by the government is nurturing the seed of young social entrepreneurs since very young age. The second is about the regulation support by eliminating the roadblocks, discussion and information exchange on social issues among stakeholders. And also, if it is important, if it is needed, we can have the discussion among the government across the country in Southeast Asia. The third is financing and market. As we know that one of the problem of the social enterprise is about the gap in financing. So if government support the financing and market, it is very beneficial for the social enterprises by supporting the business sides of social enterprises. And the fourth is social enterprises ecosystem among stakeholders and international environment. Those four things that I think government can take the role to enhance and to improve the quality and the number of the social enterprises in every country, including in Indonesia. Now, what is the role of education like what we are doing in the PPM School of Management? The first is education and training in entrepreneurship help entrepreneurs to provide the impetus for development. That's clear. One important thing, perhaps the most crucial thing, is the education training in order to improve the competency and the sensitivity of the young people to understand the social issues. The second is case-based learning process. What we do in the PPM School of Management is we provide the case as the basis for the learning process in the class, and also we have the business competition either at national level and in the regional level. And these cases are written based on the real case from the company, either pure business company or the social enterprises. We are very open to everybody, Ibu Pakhdar, Pak Gigi, or the company from Cambodia, if you are willing to join the effort to enhance the number of the people who have the willing to join the social enterprises, please contact us to have the case study to be disseminated to them, and perhaps we can use them, the case study as the business case for the competition. And the third is the joint program among school in the region on or at international level. Now, PPM School of Management also have the working together with some school outside Indonesia, like Taiwan, Korea, and we are very open and very happy if there are some school and university of Cambodia want to work together to enhance the competency of the students in a business sector, especially in the social enterprises. We are very happy to have this joint program. And the fourth is the soft competency are crucial. It is not only the hard competency that we need to be enhanced, but the soft competency is very important because according to some survey and research, more than 60% of the success of the people, including the entrepreneurs, are based on the soft competency, not only hard competency. So what we are doing now is putting the soft competency as part of our curriculum. This example, what has been doing by the ASEAN Foundation. There are six things that are ASEAN Foundation doing. The first is reducing poverty or improving the livelihood of ASEAN citizens. The second is providing access to better healthcare for ASEAN citizens. particularly disadvantaged communities. The third is providing or improving access to quality education and capacity development program for ASEAN citizens, also particularly for disadvantaged community. The fourth is addressing issues on gender equality in ASEAN region. Now, fifth is addressing environmental issue related to irresponsible exploration of the nature. And the sixth is undertaking necessary action to tackle climate change and its impact. What I learned from the ASEAN Foundation is this institution doesn't deal with all the 17 SDGs, but they focus on 4 or 5 SDG goals, like environmental issue, women, gender, disabilities. Those are the issues that ASEAN Foundation tried to deal with. As I write on the right side, they try to achieve SDG number 1, SDG number 3, SDG number 4, and SDG number 5, and SDG number 12, and also 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 issues they want to tackle. And the last one is what I would like to explain is about what we need to learn. Information exchange and collaboration are possible to be done. This is the research conducted by British Council and the partner. In Indonesia, the importance government of Indonesia in helping and build and nurture the social entrepreneurship ecosystem. In Malaysia, the point what British Council learned is active role in recognizing and promoting social enterprises with the launch of the Malaysian Global Innovation and Creative Center. In the Philippines, the research stresses the legislation on social enterprises was proposed. In Singapore, the government-appointed Social Enterprises Committee was tasked with developing national strategy to grow social enterprises and their ecosystem. And lastly, in Thailand, a master plan for social enterprises promotion was developed. What I learned from this is actually every country in Southeast Asia try to develop and support the social enterprises. And I believe also in Cambodia, as well as in Indonesia. And hopefully, in the near future, the number of social enterprises in Indonesia and Cambodia will increase. More Indonesia now around 300,000, and hopefully in the near future, the number can be doubled. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you, Professor Bram, for your comprehensive presentation. So business and social corporate responsibility now is not correlated and dependent on each other, which society and the government cooperation and also education is needed to encourage the success. So now we enter the question and answer section. We start from with 3 questions from the participants. Maybe we invite the participants from the venue first, and then we go to the chat. So before you ask, please mention your name and also where you come from. Thank you. So I see we have a question from the participant. Yes. Please, you can straight away.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Moderator. I'm Lautinia. I'm from the Indonesian Embassy. And my question is for Professor Bramantio. I would like to know your opinion about the role of the current government in Indonesia to cultivate the ecosystem of sociopreneurships among young people in Indonesia, and how is your opinion as an academic to improve the sociopreneurship culture among young people in Indonesia? And to Ibu Eva and Mas Gigi, how do you see the current situation in Indonesia regarding the young sociopreneurship ecosystem. Do you have opinion on the future ecosystem of sociopreneurship in Indonesia, and how do you see it now and probably in the years to come? Thank you.
Please, maybe for a question for Professor Bram, and maybe we can start from Professor Bram first.
Okay. Okay, thank you, moderator. The question is, thank you, the question is the role of the government in Indonesia at the current situation about the supporting the social enterprises. What I understand is, I think the government of Indonesia have a lot of initiation for the social enterprises in Indonesia. And now I think if, let's say, if you want to establish a new institution, new company or new foundation or yayasan, I think it is very easy now in Indonesia. It is supported by the regulation, the number one. The second, from my point of view as the education institution, now Indonesia implement MBKM, Merdeka Belajar, Kampus Merdeka, I don't know the terminology in English, the independence of the student who learn. The student can learn from everyone, from everybody, from every institution. That's the basic idea. Let's say my student, our student in PPM School of Management can learn not only in the class according to the curriculum that we have, but also they can learn, go to the company at least one semester to learn how to implement the knowledge into the real practice. Also, the student can also learn from the company like Bu Eva, Bakhtiar, and Pak Gigi. If Bu Eva and Pak Gigi open the opportunity for the student, they can join the Pak Gigi, Bu Eva, and others also in Cambodia, so they can have the opportunity to learn how to become the social entrepreneurs. And after that, we hope that not only they increase the competency, but also after finishing the study, after graduation, I hope they can become the new social entrepreneurs. As you know that in Indonesia now, a lot of, I think most of the university, higher education try to develop and enhance the quality of the students, not only in the hard competency, but also in soft competency. Now, what second is they also put in the curriculum in every program, the curriculum on entrepreneurship. And as a school, we also introduce entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship in our curriculum. So we hope that after graduation, they will become entrepreneurs in the future. And according to our survey, I think our students, more than 5% of the students become new entrepreneurs from BPM School of Management. And they're very happy because 5% is quite a lot, high number according to the survey in Indonesia, because I think mostly student who finish from the university who goes into the become the entrepreneurs still less than 4%, and we are happy because our students have the willingness and become the entrepreneurs more than 5%. Perhaps that's my answer, Ibu. Thank you very much.
And maybe we invite Ibu Eva for the second question.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much, Bu, for the questions. In my own opinion, I do see that there's an increase on young people's interest on creating a social enterprise in Indonesia. I think people in this generation right now, they would love to contribute to society, to environment more than just, just working as usual in the business as usual. But in my opinion, if there's something that we can do to make it as easier for our social enterprise in Indonesia, it's about the the legal entities, right? Because right now, since we don't have the dedicated form or formula for social enterprise in Indonesia, it is still treated as either as yayasan, which is something like non-profit organizations, or UMKM or small businesses. While actually we do have very unique characteristic that those or both entities does not have. So as Mr. Gigi said before, if we want to create a serious social enterprise, we still have to make two legal entities, which is yayasan or foundation, and also at the same time companies, which is we still have to follow the regulations either for yayasan or for the companies. I think it will be so much better if we do have like a dedicated entities for the social enterprise. So our tax procedures and then the government regulations or the government incentives can follow that entities, because as a social enterprise that works giving contributions to the societies and the communities, I think it is very fair to provide some kind of incentive. So there will be much more and more young people that will be interested to create a social enterprise. I think that's from my side. I think Pak Gigi has other opinion maybe.
Yep, similar to you, Mbak Eva. I think in terms of the ecosystem itself, 5 or 6 years ago when KBRI was just an idea, there were only, if I can remember, like only one social enterprise incubator or accelerator in Indonesia. And now we see like a couple of them, a lot of supporters, and then more financing support as well, not just from the incubator, but also from the impact investors community, and also some regular investors also now. Some of them have kind of impact angles as well. So they're trying a bit to be more social. There is a Kadin as well. If I'm not mistaken, they also prepared like a social impact fund, if I'm not mistaken. So I believe in terms of supporting ecosystem, now it's getting better and more people, more and more young people also aspiring to be a social enterprise. There is also some support as well from education institutions like PPM, who support like a really direct curriculum in the university. Like when I was in the college, it was not non-existent at all. So I think it's a good progress towards building more normal ecosystem for social enterprise in Indonesia. And it's the same, if there is something that government can do, I'm not sure how to actually regulate social enterprise, because like there is just so many spectrum on what we do. For example, it's kind of difficult as well for us to like have the same measurement for all. For example, it's like, oh, social enterprise should have commitments like 20 or 30% of the profit should be allocated for the social improvement or back to the society, something like that. I think it's also kind of tricky and complicated in some ways, and perhaps in terms of audit procedures or something, it also will be overwhelming for a small social enterprise like us. So, but perhaps if there's any ways that we can do, I believe providing incentives for social enterprise will be great. Perhaps we can use some other measurement. It doesn't have to become with like new legal entity, but at least if we have some kind of certifications as a socially impactful enterprise, that will be work as well. For example, if we have that score, particular certificate or particular score, and then we can pass it, and then we have like a tax incentive, for example, that will be helpful as well. So I believe there are many ways government can support the social enterprise, and I hope to see it in the near, like perhaps less than 5 years if it's possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you all speakers for the answers. And I see that there was another question from the floor. Okay, please.
Ambassador, and the Executive Vice President of Young Entrepreneurs Association of Cambodia. It's not a question, but it is more like from what Cambodian young entrepreneurs and other business people in Cambodia now are working on. Because we actually we worked quite a lot on social entrepreneurs a couple of years back, I would say. But now the new initiative that we are working on, we are more into inclusive business. Because this is a bit of sharing rather than which one is better. Because we believe that in order to help the society in the long run, first, we must ensure that our business are sustainable first. So we need to help ourselves first in order to help others. And that's why we care about ourselves first. And then we can continue to care for the society, you know, in the long run, what I mean. And it is also an initiative of the government now as well, that they want to introduce IB, because inclusive business. Because when we have seen that a lot of companies cannot sustain long when we care only or care about the society more than ourselves first. I can see a lot of social enterprises fail in Cambodia. This is a bit of sharing, you know, the stories in Cambodia here. It does not mean that inclusive business do not care about society. Actually, we do care a lot. So in the framework of inclusive business, it is more sustainable than social enterprises. It is some kind like we call triple wins in the business. The company grows, make profit. Also, all stakeholders, all the supply chains of the business also grow. And also, the consumers, society also grow together. So we are more into this. We make sure that our company can grow, profitable, and then all the stakeholders, including supporting businesses, small businesses around us, also grow together. And also, the consumers, all supply chains, I mean, they all grow together and contribute to the overall economic development of the country. I have seen a lot of organizations, non-profit organizations, they try to transform themselves to be social enterprises, but yet they have struggled and sometimes they fail because their mindset is still non-profit organizations. So they do not really know about entrepreneurship, innovation, financing options, or maybe capital market, and how to develop themselves. So this is in Cambodia for us as a Young Entrepreneurs Association here that represent around, now we have 500 companies, and also an initiative from the government as well. We promote inclusive business more than social enterprises because we believe that this is the more sustainable way to help the society. Okay, so I think maybe our audience and brothers and sisters here or also in Indonesia, we can explore more. And actually really also want to take this opportunity that I really got inspired all the time with initiative of Indonesia government. I still remember, and now I try to promote the spirit also among young entrepreneurs in Cambodia about the creative economy. I never forgot to mention this because I attended this in Bali, and it was so powerful. And creative economy is still something that Cambodia need to learn from Indonesia as well. And also, we learn a lot also from the history of social enterprises, but we just want to add on that if we can also move from social enterprises to inclusive businesses, and that is I would say the more sustainable strategy to help yourself and also to help the society. Thank you.
Thank you for your sharing of experience regarding the sociopreneurship that you have done with the Young Entrepreneur Association in Cambodia. So maybe we go to the chats from the question from the chat room, and even though that there's already sharing experience, maybe we can share all the speakers can share the tips regarding the same, that how they can sustain the business, that especially in startup when there's a high turnover rate, overhead, low salary, and what are the tips that you can share to keep the business going and make sure a healthy working environment, employee welfare, and all those kinds at the same time? Maybe we can start from Bong Richard.
Yeah, and I think my answer to this is very similar to one that mentioned about sustainability in the company. Look, nobody needs to be punished for working in a social enterprise. I think we have to understand that. Why are we asking workers to take low wages to work to build a better cause for the countries and for the world in a way? So my point is very similar. Is look, social enterprise need to be sustainable, need to be profitable. The profit can be reinvested into growing the social cause. And that's what we're doing. We are reinvesting 100% of our profit into growing the company so that we can support more companies and more technologies. So I think the key here is to look at social enterprise in a different lens. Look, we are not charity. And the problem with charity is that there's not a lot of long-term investment. Charity and a lot of nonprofit need to show short-term result. So a lot of the long-term investment are being put off. Social enterprise change that equation. Look, social enterprise, what we are doing, we are not another company just to make profit. Look, profitable company without social cause in mind will make a really bad decision from a business perspective. If profit is the only thing that is the focus of the company, I wouldn't call that social enterprise. And there's a lot of negative effects coming from that. If we look at case study from Nestle, from even government worker, the wages, the stress, the pressure of the profit-focused company alone, they are not building toward the better of society. Social enterprise, we should not be confused with that. Just because we are looking to be sustainable and get profitable, every decision in the company that we make for the benefit of our workers and the benefit of society. We will not make unethical decision just so that we can maximize profit. And I think that's the clear difference between business and social enterprise. Now, a lot of people, in this room or in the webinar, when and I face this myself, I face this discrimination against social enterprise because people think that social enterprise doesn't make any money. Look, if we build a great product that have values, profit is not an evil thing. Now, the decision to make those profits, to maximize those profits, that is the difference maker. Are we going to make unethical decision, unmoral decision, just to maximize profit? If the answer is yes, we are not social enterprise. If we are taking advantage of our workers by paying them low wages, by using the mission of our company as the way for them to compensate their food and their living expense, that's not right. And that's why for us, in order to attract talent, in order to keep those talent, we need to pay them at market rate or even above market rate. This is the way to go. The mission of the company itself should be just the cherry on top, should be the bonus. It should not be the reason why they have to sacrifice their standard of living to work for social enterprise. Thanks.
Bong Kongi, do you have any tips?
I agree with Richard that social entrepreneurs at the role model should have the salary that, about even should not equal, but even about, let's say, the salary that used in the market. Because if social entrepreneur fail, how we promote the young generation? I have been talking with some Japanese impact investor, and they say, yes, if we cannot even make more role model, how can we promote the next generation? And I also totally agree with Bong Oknya, Poland, that in Cambodia, because we don't have the legal status for the social enterprise, we have only business and NGO. And now the government try to promote the IB. So I mean, in a business, if have only one business line, that maybe do something good for society, they can put as the inclusive business. And from my side, in order to, let's say, get the profit and then share back, we need to define the amount of the net profit. For example, here for My Dream Home, we put 25% in order to grow, in order to pay a fair wage to our worker. For example, the minimum wage salary for worker for the first entrant is 225. It's already about the minimum wage that defined by the government. This is how we do, and generating enough revenue is so important. We have 2 locations because one location that really affected by COVID, mostly my brand in Siem Reap. I have 2 locations, so it can also contribute to the other side, and making good revenue also help a lot to subsidize. Without having money, how can we subsidize, use that money to help for the poor? So I think we need to understand also the nature, because like Bong Polan also mentioned, most of the social enterprise in Cambodia originate from the NGO. They just focus on the impact, but without understanding how the business work, how creative, understanding the demand, and especially during the COVID time, if we not well prepared and work hard enough, like my case, I even work really hard, even during the night. So we have 3 founders. We see sometimes our work, more of enterprise, they work 8 hours, but we work 12 or 16 hours. We work 2 shifts. This is how we sustain and how we can keep ourselves today.
Thank you, Bong Kongni, and maybe we invite Miss Eva. Mbak Eva, silakan.
Yeah, thank you. So what I can share to keep the business going, yeah, I think the struggling is real, and I believe that is what we all experience as the founders, at least at the early stage of our social enterprise development. My very first and important tips to keep the business going would be to manage it like business, right? So we put our social impact in the heart of our operations, but in daily operations we do manage it like a professional business, like business as usual. And then my next tip is, in our case, I do believe in continuous improvement. We might not be able to find the perfect formula at the beginning. Sometimes we have to deconstruct and construct new business models. But along the time, with consistent evaluation and improvement, I believe that we are getting one step ahead at one time. So to me, the key is to always eager to question what you are doing, right? Is the product I am making, is what the consumer needs? Are the customers happy and satisfied with the product that we make? And then what is the feedback from our customers? If there's something that we can do to improve our product, what is it? And what can I do to make my customer come back and become loyal customers? We keep questioning this over and over again along the time. So I think one practical example that I can share from Garda Pangan is when we first sell the ugly produce to our customers. I don't know if you still remember, but we sell the, ugly produce. They might be ugly in appearance, but they are cheaper. And then the people also, contribute to the environment by creating less food waste and food loss. And they also helping us running the food bank, right? But out of these 3 incentives, we want to know what actually the main drive for them to buy our product. So we asked them, we talked to our customers, and then we found out that actually only 99% buying our products due to its affordable price, but 61% or the biggest portion of the customers actually buying our products because they want to reduce food waste and they want to support Garda Pangan. So finding out this fact then the next step that we do is, because we find this fact, right? We know what we have to do is to, you know, create more stories on how, you know, they can also contribute to the same mission that we carry. So it's not about, you know, bragging about we have a much more affordable price, you can buy cheaper vegetables for your family. It's not that, because it seems like it's not the main drive for our customers. But we give them the appealing stories about what we're doing. We keep telling them about what we're doing in our daily operations to reduce the food waste, what is our impact to the world, and something like that. So our data would be very beneficial of our decisions and actions in the future. So never ever be satisfied with the state you are in right now, no matter how advanced your social enterprise is right now. Create endless conversations with our stakeholders. And if somehow we figure out that our business models doesn't work, I think it's also very important to you know, do not hesitate to pivot. Garda Pangan has changed its business model a couple times, two until three times, if I'm not mistaken, before we find what actually really works. And then in terms of creating a healthy work environment, I agree so much with what Mr. Richard said. I believe in walk the talk, or practice what you preach. I personally believe it's not ethical if you claim that, you know, you are impacting the people's lives, but at the same time you exploit your employees. But on another side, I also believe that if you treat the people that works around you, you treat them well, you can somehow influence the people around you to work not only for salary, but because they put their hearts and minds on the same vision and goal with you as the founders. You know, it is hard to work beyond expectations or go extra miles when the employee is merely seeing it as a duty instead of doing something for the communities. So if our employees have to work hard, it is because they want to do so, not because they have to do so. I think that's from me. Thank you.
Thank you. And then now from Mas Gigi, please.
Thank you. Maybe just three things for me, brief three things. The first one is keep the team sufficient. By sufficient means like if you can just work in a small team, why have so many teams? I think because that by having like a very effective and efficient team members, that doesn't matter how many are they, you will be able to like at least keep the expectations, and then doesn't have to sacrifice a lot of money to doesn't have to sacrifice the amount of the salary to pay for more people. So if you have effective small team members, I think that's better. It's better to have like a very competent and hardworking persons, and then pay them well. That will be better rather than having so many people and then you pay it less. The second one, have a diversification in terms of revenue models. That will be great, because like for WeCare itself, perhaps if we only rely on the crowdfunding, maybe it's not sufficient enough for this point of time. So that's why we have other business models such as logistics, and then we also have like consultancy for social enterprise, for companies, and also for the fundraising campaign itself. So having those several business models will support each other in a way you kind of protect your revenues. If one perhaps doesn't really work, then you still have some other revenue models to support you. And then the other three, the last one is to be mindful with the intentions to grow, because like it's quite dilemmatic actually for social enterprise how much actually we should grow. Because like for digital social enterprise like us, we can grow as much as like Facebook, for example. We can have like billion users and then be capitalized in like gazillion values and something like that. But isn't it something that we want? Which one is better, like solving problems in a smaller scale, for example, for particular regions compared to like a global scale, something like that? It's still up to us. I mean, like we can be mindful with that. because like when we have like a very strong ego to grow our company, sometimes we don't care about other aspects. So whether we grow ethically or not, or some other aspect of that. So I think be intentional with it. You don't have to like be super like $1 billion company. So if you can kind of have that mindfulness in terms of the intentions of grow, I think that will be somehow, I will keep my company at this, just at this stage, so that it doesn't have to like really like compromise with your values in terms of because we want to grow. For example, okay, I want to get more people, and then I will pay less because I want to keep the profit high, the margin high, so in that situations, you should be mindful with that. So I think having that mindset will be helpful for us in order to set the healthy organizations for us, which still be able to sustain it and also ensure that our teams are well and healthy. That's all.
Thank you, Mas Gigi. And for the last answer from Professor Bram before we close this question and answer.
Okay, thank you. I just want to underline the answer that has been provided by Ibu Eva, Pak Gigi, and previous speakers. Basically, if you want to make sure that the social enterprises you can keep going, the first is what you need to do is to apply or to implement the business model into the social enterprises as well. Like you have to have the long-term planning, you have the annual planning, you have to make sure that you can satisfy the stakeholders and so on and so on. Even though you are a social enterprise, you have competitors. So you need to consider who's your competitors, who are your competitors, and how you deal with the market in order to win the market, so you can survive. And also you have to make sure that your employee also satisfied, because employees is one of the main stakeholders in your institution. I think it is not about the low or high salary, it is about the sufficiency, I think. As long as you can give the sufficient salary to them, and the second thing is, as long as you can make sure that your employee buy in the mission, they internalize the mission, they will stay in your institution, not because of the low or high salary. As long as those two things, sufficient salary, and also they internalize the mission. One of the indication, moderator, that you treat the employee fair enough in terms of the salary is if the ratio between the lowest salary and the highest salary in the institution is not more than 20. Let's say if you give the salary to your new employee, the lowest salary is, let's say, $100. So the highest boss must be not more than 2,000, 20 times 100. That's indication of the fairness of the salary. So as long as you have those two things, the sufficiency and the internalization of the mission, I think you can keep the business going. And don't forget to implement the business aspect of the social enterprises, like long-term planning, competition, and those things. That's my comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for all the speakers for the answers, and thank you, Ibu Desi, for the questions. And I hope that these answers can also answer the question from Ibu Akiko. And now we go to the last session, which is the closing of this webinar. We hope that this webinar can give encouragements and also benefits to the youth, so they can, both in Indonesia and also in Cambodia, so they can start their own sociopreneurship, which will also benefit them and also the people and in the environment. So now I give this session back to the MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Atrip. Ladies and gentlemen, now we move on to certificate handover. So allow me to invite Ambassador Sudirman Haseng to the stage to present the certificates to our speakers. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, now we have come to the end of our webinar today. And thank you very much for your participation, both physically and virtually. Now we cordially invite you to have lunch all together at Ballroom 2, which is next to this ballroom. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Okay, thank you very much.
Terima kasih untuk Profesor Prasetyo, Mas Gigi, dan Mbak Eva Bahtiar atas presentasinya yang sangat bermanfaat bagi kita hari ini. Salam dari kami di KBRI Phnom Penh.
Ya.
Terima kasih, Bu.
Salam Ibu, salam juga untuk
sehat-sehat di sana
Pak,
semuanya.
Pak Gigi.
Thank you, Pak Dewanantio, Mbak Eva. Sampai ketemu lagi.
Terima kasih.
Ya, mohon pamit Ibu.
Mohon pamit.
Terima kasih Pak. Oh Pak Dubes ingin berbicara sesuatu Pak.
Oh ya. Oh.
Oke.
Ya, selamat siang Pak Dubes.
Selamat siang Pak Dubes. Terima kasih sudah diundang.
Tanya atas partisipasinya, Prof.
Yuk.
Gigi, Bu Eva.
Ya Pak.
Ya Pak, terima kasih banyak sudah dilibatkan.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Dubes sudah dilibatkan. Anytime kalau itu kami ingin kapan-kapan kalau sudah tidak ada persoalan kita bisa sowan ke Cambodia juga nih Pak Dubes.
Harus ke sini. Iya,
Ya,
Pak. Kita arrange, Pak. Oke.
Siap. Ya.
Siap.
Oke. Oke, kalau gitu bisa pamit ya. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Pak.
Ya, sekali lagi Pak Diki, Pak
Bye.
Ewa. Sampai ketemu lagi.
Bye-bye.
Mari Pak.
Ya, mari.